卡，记住，不想拍。
Okay, hold on.
That regular show has one of the best casts out of any animated show in history. I remember when I first started watching this show, I thought the characters not only had unique designs, but also had interesting personalities that made them all stand out. And as I got older, I started to feel like I really resonated with many of the characters more than when I was watching as a kid. But even though I love many of these characters in this show, there's always been one character that I've always had a weird relationship with, and that was Mordecai. Because if I'm being honest, when I first started watching this show, Mordecai was one of my favorite characters, especially in the earlier seasons. But I remember as the show would start to get into the later seasons, even though I couldn't exactly put my finger on what it was, I would begin to really dislike Mordecai as a character. And it was only after I revisited regular show again, now that I'm in my 20s, that I was able to realize something that was so obvious. Mordecai kinda sucks. And after I realized
Mordecai
this, you wouldn't believe my surprise when I found out that I'm not the only one who feels this way, as a large portion of the regular show fan base really hate Mordecai. And while he still has his fans, it seems like many of them, as well as casual watchers, don't understand the Mordo hate train. So in this video, I'm gonna go over a couple of episodes that really made me and will probably make you hate Mordecai. Now, something that gets looked over a lot when people talk about Mordecai's character is just how scummy of a friend he really was. And look, don't get me wrong, Mordecai does have moments where he's actually a good friend. For example, when he won the Excellent Challenge so that he could win the trucker hat for Rigby to get him out of his coma. But while Mordecai does do some big things like this that make him seem like a good friend, a lot of
the fact that that word is TOS is so like yo, bro, what type of
Let's take a look at how he treats Rigby, for example. And no, I'm not going to use the infamous "I'll kill you" scene from the episode It's Time as a knock against him. Because what a lot of people forget about that scene is while Mordecai did push Rigby off the microwave, Rigby pushed Mordecai first, and Rigby was the reason they were even on the microwave, as Rigby jumped on Mordecai's back as the microwave was warping. On top of that, Mordecai screaming out "I'll kill you" wasn't supposed to be taken serious, as Rigby had told that to Mordecai multiple times throughout season 1. And clearly the instant regret Mordecai had on his face when he saw Rigby fade into nothing showed that he wasn't intentionally trying to hurt Rigby. Or at least he wasn't in that moment, because if we go to the season 1 episode Death Punches, it tells a completely different story. The episode starts off with Rigby and Mordecai getting the new video game, and obviously after getting the new game, they want to start it up and start playing. And right as the two go to pick their characters, they begin to argue over who's going to be player 1. Both of them want to be player 1 because player 1 has a shovel, while player 2 has a quote-unquote sucky pickaxe. So to settle who gets to be player 1, Mordecai suggests that they both play punchies, a game where whoever punches the other one the hardest wins. Rigby goes.
He deadass died that episode. Real shit. The little games they used to play in that show used to be cool as fuck. Yo, I wanted to play those games in real life, bro.
Goes first by throwing his punch, which doesn't even phase Mordecai. Mordecai then takes his turn by punching Rigby all the way across the sofa with the biggest smile on his face. Rigby then complains about how it's unfair that every time they have to decide something, Mordecai makes them play punchies, because he knows there's no way that he can beat Mordecai. The episode then follows Rigby as he tries to find a way to beat Mordecai in punchies. He then learns a Death Kwon-Do technique called the Death Punch and prepares to rematch Mordecai. But Mordecai learns about Rigby's plan and goes to the same Death Kwon-Do dojo to learn a technique to keep Rigby from beating him at punchies. The two then have a Death Kwon-Do showdown as Rigby uses the Death Punch and Mordecai uses the Death Block. And as you could guess, Mordecai's Death Block cancels out Rigby's Death Punch, leaving them both at a stalemate. But Rigby doesn't give up, continuing to spam the Death Punch over and over to the point where him and Mordecai are in an underground crater with lava flowing in. And while Mordecai is telling Rigby to stop, Rigby refuses until he beats Mordecai at punchies. It's then that we get a montage of Mordecai beating up Rigby throughout the years through several games of punchies. And when Mordecai realizes that Rigby won't stop until he wins a game of punchies, Mordecai lets him win and they both escape. Okay, now, so let's take a look at how Mordecai treats his friend in this episode. So we know from this episode that Mordecai openly acknowledges that Rigby is the weakest person in the park. Because when Rigby says that he can never beat Mordecai at punchies, Mordecai says this.
Who are you saying?
Dude, you don't beat anybody at punchies.
Now from this clip, it's obvious that Mordecai not only knows that his friend is physically weaker than him, but also takes advantage of the fact that he can physically bully Rigby around. Mordecai purposely picks a game that he knows that Rigby could never beat him in so that he can consistently have his way. But not only does he beat Rigby at punchies, he takes joy in the fact that he can physically beat up Rigby. I mean, look at this clip. Does this look like someone who's just playing a game with their friend? And we see in this episode that Mordecai consistently beats up Rigby to the point where Rigby would rather die being burnt by lava than let Mordecai win another game of punchies. And the craziest part is, this isn't even the worst time Mordecai was a complete jerk to Rigby. In the season 6 episode Live With Your Back, we see that Mordecai and Rigby are working when CJ pulls up to pick up Mordecai early. Mordecai then asks Rigby if he can cover for him so that he can go with his girlfriend, and Rigby, trying to be a good friend, says yes. We then cut to another day where Mordecai and Rigby are working, and Mordecai asks Rigby out the blue if he can cover for him so that he can take CJ to a movie. Rigby, being a little bit more reluctant this time, still agrees and says yes. We then cut to yet another day of Mordecai asking Rigby if he can cover for him again so that he can go do something with CJ. And Rigby, even though he doesn't want to, still...
Yo, that shit is insane, bro. It's as simple as, yo, your girlfriend will just see you on your day off, bro. Why you gotta make your man's life harder just to go see your fucking girlfriend, bro? Maybe you do it once or twice. Cool, bro. I'm doing it over and over and over and over again, bro. Like, damn. Rigby, just a water boy for the hood.
Still trying to be a good friend, says yes. We then cut to a park meeting where Benson's handing out everybody assignments. And Benson tells Mordecai that he needs him to help Rigby change light bulbs, to which Rigby says that he can do it on his own. Rigby is then laughed at by everybody and is told without Mordecai he would be completely useless. And Rigby, looking for his best friend to back him up and say that he's useful, has to sit in front of everybody and hear this.
And Mordecai was
basically the opposite of useful pretty much anytime we do anything.
But that's not even the craziest part about this moment. The craziest part is when Rigby brings up how he's been covering for Mordecai for almost a week now. Mordecai says this.
Well, I mean, it's the least you could do.
Like, there's genuinely no way I could be friends with someone after they told me this. Rigby ends up quitting his job at the park, and he ends up getting a job at a moving company where you have to lift everything with your back.
He's
and
so
even though Rigby
fucked
does hate
up,
the job, he's sticking through with this so that...
Oh, I'm gonna watch that after. Hold on. Let me put it before. For me, I forget.
China Fix Everything Part 17.
That's gonna be an interesting.
He can get his first paycheck to rub in Mordecai's face to show that he actually is useful. At the end of the episode, Rigby has to move an entire truck by himself to get his first paycheck. And Eileen, who's been supporting Rigby throughout this entire time, brings Mordecai because she wants them to make up. Rigby then begins to argue with Mordecai, saying that Mordecai only uses him and treats him like trash.
Rigby, help me get a girlfriend. Let me borrow your time machine, Rigby. Rigby, I found a dumb sweater and I gotta return it. All you do is use me, man.
But I never asked you to do those things.
And the craziest part about Mordecai saying this is,
what do you mean you never asked him? Every time you asked him. Yo, what the fuck?
All the regular show, you know that he's lying. Mordecai consistently asks favors from Rigby, and Rigby, oftentimes trying to be a good friend, tries to help Mordecai out. But Mordecai is so self-centered that even when someone is consistently doing favors for them, he will look them in their eyes and tell them that's the least that they can do. And I think what I hate most about this episode is that although Eileen had good intentions, she says this.
Eileen, why'd you bring that guy here?
Because you guys are friends and you always support each other.
But the problem with this statement is it's not true. Mordecai almost never supports Rigby when it's actually something important. Let's jump all the way to the season 7 finale, Rigby's graduation day.
Rigby's graduation day, I hated Mordecai this episode. Like, on my soul, I dead hated him, bro. Like, I hated his guts, bro.
Special. One of the many plot points of season 7 was Rigby going back to school so that he could finally graduate. And this episode follows Rigby as he prepares to give a graduation day speech and the rest of the park members preparing for Rigby's graduation day party. And throughout this episode, you see that everybody's all excited for Rigby, everybody's doing their best to make sure that Rigby has the best graduation party, everybody's so happy, except for Mordecai. Mordecai throughout this episode is consistently blowing off Rigby. He's consistently acting like he doesn't want to help with Rigby's graduation party. And when Rigby reaches out to Mordecai multiple times asking him for help with his graduation day speech, Mordecai tells Rigby that he needs to learn how to do stuff on his own and blows him off. Even though Rigby had been doing stuff on his own for almost the entire season. And it's only after Rigby completely fails at giving his speech the first time around, almost embarrassing himself in front of everybody that he knows, that Mordecai actually comes up to Rigby and tells him why he's been acting the way he's been acting. And this was Mordecai's whole justification of why he's been blowing off his best friend on one of the most important days of his life.
It's hard to see you doing so great. I guess I always kind of liked that I was doing better than you before.
Yo, this nigga is not like real right, bro. Word of my mother, he's not real right, bro. He's not real right. Well, being though, someone called me weird for putting hot sauce on Pop Tarts and What is wrong with you? What the fuck? I never heard of no shit like that. Ibrahim, let me ask you a question. What you mean? Would you put hot sauce on Pop Tarts?
No.
Would you put hot sauce on muffins?
No.
Listen, I'm not saying it's wrong to do, but it's
But
just
I would put hot sauce on pizza.
okay. I don't know about all that either, bro. But for me, I'm not saying it's wrong to do. It's just that I never heard of that shit ever in my life.
Mordecai liked the fact that he was better than Rigby, and
Ibrahim,
when Rigby
Grumps
looked like
are-
he was going to be on the same level as Mordecai, Mordecai couldn't handle it. Now tell me, does that actually sound like a real friend,
See,
someone that you would
this
want to
why
have around
Ibrahim
you,
my
or does that
mans.
just sound like a hater disguised as a friend?
'Cause he
Rigby's
put hot sauce
graduation
on
day should have
fucking
had
pizza?
nothing to do with Mordecai. It should have been a celebration of Rigby's hard work and accomplishments. But all Mordecai could think about is how it makes him look worse by comparison. But I promise you, this isn't even the best example of how Mordecai will take something that has nothing to do with him and try to make it completely revolve around him. In the season 6 finale dumped at the altar, the episode starts off with Mordecai confused about what to do after he finds out that Margaret has feelings for him even though he's with CJ. Mind you, while Mordecai's focusing on a love
Yo, Mordecai is just a bad person, bro. Like real shit, he's just a bad person, bro. Like yo, I can't have any food that ain't spicy. I'm not gonna lie, I like spice with a lot of my foods. But the thing is, okay, with pizza, then you could put the fucking what is that shit called? The spice that goes on pizza. I'm not remembering what it's called right now, but word, bro, that's how I eat my pizza. You think nothing ever goes his way? Why you think nothing ever goes his way? He's getting his karma. Ranch with hot sauce and pizza. No. Ranch with buffalo chicken sauce and buffalo chicken with pizza. Word. I put both chili flakes and hot sauce, ranch and pizza. Yo, what's the word, Samurai? I don't do this no more, but that shit good. My grandma put me on years ago. But yo, this nigga is just a bad person, bro. Ranch and pizza mad good. I'm not eating ranch with pizza alone, though. I don't know about that. But with buffalo sauce and buffalo chicken on it, yeah. Nah, ranch and pizza, not it. Yeah, he's bugging. But yo, this nigga like Mordecai had a crush on Margaret for mad long, right? He's a pussy. He don't pursue her whatsoever, right? Feel me? Now, when Mordecai get a girlfriend that actually like jack him, they connect together, they like word. For me? Now he find out Margaret like him. He don't know what to do. Nigga, stay with your fucking girlfriend, dumbass. What the fuck? That girl wanna show her feelings once you're with another girl. Come on, bro. That's just the biggest red flag in the fucking world, bro. Let's be realistic, bro. I would have left the bitch
feelings
too.
for him, even though he's with CJ.
Nah.
Mind you, while
Nah, that's
Mordecai's
not right,
focusing
bro.
on a love triangle,
Margaret his soulmate.
everybody's
If Margaret was his soulmate, he would have ended up with Margaret. This nigga ended up single at the end of the show. He ended up single at the end of the show. He didn't end up with Margaret. Nigga, I really believe it would have went better cause his personality, he's pussy, but his personality actually matched CJ. Actually. And any girl that wanna show her signs for you and wanna show that she like you now that you're with a girl, that's a fucking red flag, bro. He should have kept vibing with CJ. That's what I'm saying. Mordecai, generational word he is. Just have both of them at once. Listen, or you could, for me, do that. Didn't he almost kill Rigby over? No, he literally killed Rigby over Margaret. Nah, he actually killed him that episode. He died, but he was brought back to life because, you know, bullshit happens in regular show. He wanted the bitch forever.
Wedding. We then fast
But
forward
also,
to the
you should have
actual day
seen
of
what's
the
up with
wedding, and
Margaret
Mordecai
too.
still caught up on his love triangle, even though he's supposed to be helping set up for the wedding. Fast forward again in the episode, and Muscle Man is freaking out because he says he won't get married until he reads the letter that Muscle Dad wrote for him. Mordecai and Rigby are then assigned to go to Muscle Man's trailer and find the
He
actual
did want
letter.
the bitch forever.
And while looking for the letter, Mordecai talks
But
to
he
Rigby
never
about his
pursued the bitch when he had the
relationship
chance.
issues,
He
and Rigby
never
tells Mordecai
did.
that he just needs to trust his gut.
He's the
two end up
definition of
finding the
hoes
letter
over
and
bros.
rush back to the ceremony to give it to
Nah,
Muscle Man to
literally.
read. But Muscle Man is so
Literally.
emotional, he says that Mordecai has to be the one to read it to him out loud. And Mordecai does read the letter, which then gives Muscle Man the strength to start the wedding back up again. But before they can continue the ceremony, Mordecai hijacks the wedding by grabbing a microphone and going on a rant about finding his true love and not knowing if his soulmate is even in the audience. Mind you, his girlfriend is literally in the audience
Right
listening.
there. His girlfriend's in the audience, and mind you, this is Muscle Man's wedding. He takes over his man's wedding, his man's a beautiful day, to talk about, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna find my true love. His girlfriend is literally right here. This girl right here really held this nigga down for me. The bitch not that bad to be acting like that. That's what I'm saying.
And watching all of this happen. And as you could guess, CJ gets up and storms out crying. And Muscle Man calls out Mordecai for hijacking his wedding while everybody's looking at Mordecai like the jerk he is.
Like, this is literally supposed to be your man's best day of his life. This is your man's best day of his life. This is what you gonna go on and do? Like it's not his wedding? You just gonna take that shit over? I feel bad for her. Yo, bro. This video is making me realize how much I hate Mordecai, because he's not a real right nigga. He's really not.
This man didn't
He's
know
really
which
not,
girl he
bro.
wanted to be with, even though he already had a girlfriend. And his best friend Rigby told him
hold on,
to
let me
trust
see.
his gut. He thought the best thing to do. I don't think it gets any more self-centered than that.
I used to like Mordecai as a
I'm
kid
not gonna
because he
lie to
was
y'all.
blue.
I can't even understand how you.
I liked Mordecai as a kid just because of how good the show was, but like I didn't really realize how much of like yo, he doesn't give a fuck about anybody but himself, and I'm really seeing it now. I'm really seeing it now.
Character. And what I think the worst part about Mordecai's character is he never really gets any real repercussions for the stuff that he does. Like even after he hijacked Muscle Man's wedding,
That's the second
nobody
time
really
Steve
told him
went out
anything. And
country
it's like
and get
Mordecai
fucked
acts
up.
like a jerk.
Oh, he got fucked up in that video. We about to see. We about to see. For me.
And the audience is supposed to
Yo,
just take that.
what am I
Look,
looking
all
at,
I can
bro?
say is we're Team Rigby over here. But if you made it to the end of the video, please hit the like button as it pushes the content out to more people. And make sure to subscribe and hit the noti bell to be
I always
notified
liked
when I
Rigby
upload
more.
my
Nah,
next
I did
video.
always
And
like
until
Rigby
then, it's
more,
been
though,
your boy
for me.
Cornex V, and I'm off this.
I will admit, okay, watching the show, I will admit